Pediatric Intensive Care Unit. A team of doctors is trying to save a newborn girl who was born prematurely. Near the glass of the incubator, a woman looks at her daughter in tears. She asks the doctors to give her a promise that the baby will definitely survive. At a meeting of a club of parents of special children, a woman shares her worries about the upcoming separation from her son. He has long since grown up and is leaving for his studies. The mother is worried. Who will remind him to brush his teeth? It is obvious that her poor son is suffering from hyperparenting. However, the woman is supported by the host of the meeting. According to her, such emotions are typical of parents who spend more time with their children than is the case in ordinary families. Diane Sherman is in similar circumstances. Her daughter Chloe is about to head off to college, but her mother doesn't seem upset at all. According to Diana, all this is wonderful because she herself for the last 17 years was deprived of all the joys of life, did not go anywhere, and did not go out. And the girl will now start a new big life, and her daughter will have it all. In the house where Diana and her daughter live, we see a typical day in the life of Chloe. The morning begins with a handful of medications, an asthma inhaler, and the now long familiar morning sickness. The girl barely moves around the house in a wheelchair. The child is truly sorry. But fortunately, there is a caring mother who does not miss a single detail, gives pills, and prepares a balanced, healthy breakfast for diabetics, gives her daughter a massage, and grows vegetables. To top it all off, the mother tutors Chloe's lessons since her daughter is homeschooled. When the mail truck pulls up to the house, Chloe drops everything she's doing and hurries to the door. The girl has long been waiting for a letter from the college with the results of the test for admission. Her mother is also waiting impatiently for a reply. So far, however, it's been nothing but bills to pay. At some point, returning from the store, the mother leaves her shopping on the table and goes out to answer the phone. At this time, Chloe rushes to the bags, and while her mother does not see, the girl snatches a couple of candies, which she is given, as a rule, in limited quantities. Among the purchases, Chloe pays attention to the pills, which are prescribed for some reason not to her, but to her mother, in the name of Diane Sherman. It is very strange, but Chloe did not want to clarify, remaining satisfied with the excess of candy. In the evening, when her mother brings her daughter pills, the girl notices among the medicines the same gray-green capsule from her mother's box, which she saw earlier. Unsure, Chloe asks her mother if these medicines are really meant for her. Such a question surprises Diana, and the girl admits that going through the shopping, she read on the box to whom the pills were prescribed. As a loving mother, Diana does not scold her daughter for this and explains that on the package is written not the name of the patient, but the recipient. This, of course, is strange, since Chloe has seen her medication 1,000 times, which always had her own name on it. Curiosity keeps her on her toes. At some point, Chloe decides to check the box of pills, on which she sees another label with her own name on it. Looking closer, it becomes clear that the label is pasted over the old one, and the medication was prescribed to her mother after all. The puzzled girl decides to skip the evening intake of this strange capsule. Trying to find out what this drug is, Chloe in the middle of the night sneaks to her mother's computer and enters the name of the drug Trigoxin into the search bar. The browser gives an error, no internet connection, which also seems rather odd. The next day begins with the mother defiantly arguing with someone on the phone. From the conversation, we realize that we will have to wait for quite a long time. This answer does not suit the mother at all, after which she hangs up the phone in anger. Chloe asks, "When exactly is the internet coming?" After which the mother looks suspiciously at her daughter and asks how she understood that it is about the internet. Not wanting to lie, the girl admits that she tried to use the computer while her mother was asleep. However, she says that she wanted to find out on the internet why the printer was glitching. After a while, Chloe waits until her mother leaves the house and then rushes to the house phone and makes a call to the pharmacy. The answering machine informs that the number of the call will be recorded, and the girl immediately hangs up. Calling the help desk is also of no use, because it will be paid, and the cost will be included in the bill, which will immediately give her away. So resourceful Chloe decides to call a random number. On the other end of the wire is a man, whom Chloe manages to convince to help her. The girl asks him to Google the drug trigoxin, and it turns out that it is most often prescribed for heart problems. Chloe does have such problems. However, the catch is that, according to the man, trigoxin is a pill exclusively red in color. And now, for 17 years of her life, the girl for the first time faces a lie, and from the only person who is near and dear to her. Now for Chloe to find out the truth becomes the main task, and the daughter asks her mother to take her to the movies. This is a rare case when the girl has a chance to get out of her house. Under the pretext of needing the toilet, Chloe leaves the session, and herself seeks to the pharmacy across the street. Passing a huge queue, the girl asks an acquaintance of the pharmacist to tell her what kind of medicine prescribed to her mother. However, such information is private. Chloe deceives the pharmacist that she and her mother are playing a game, in which the girl is tasked with finding out what kind of pills it is. Believing the girl, the pharmacist tells her that these medicines in general are for dogs, and the mother must have given her daughter a trick assignment. Answering Chloe's question, what will happen if these medicines are given to a human? The pharmacist says that they are muscle relaxants, and most likely they will make her legs numb. At this point, a mother bursts into the pharmacy and, shoving people away, shouts that the child is delirious amidst the medication change, and to an impromptu panic, administers a strange injection to her daughter. Chloe starts calling for her mother, but gets no answer, and the door turns out to be locked, which starts to scare the girl even more. It is not difficult for her to open the lock, but the door is locked from the outside. The only option to get out of the room is the window. Chloe takes a plate and a soldering iron, takes water in her mouth, and with great effort gets on the roof to the window of the next room. After heating the glass and creating cracks in it with the plate, Chloe gets into her mother's room. It is at this point that she has an asthma attack. From the last strength, almost losing consciousness, Chloe gets to the inhaler, which was left in her room. With difficulty climbing on the chair, the girl decides to escape from the house. However, her mother damaged the elevator, and now going down the stairs for the girl becomes another challenge. As a result, Chloe throws down her chair and decides to slide down the stairs, but suddenly falls off and flies down. Experiencing severe pain after the fall, the girl opens her eyes and finds that sensitivity returns to her legs after the withdrawal. Having made a huge difficult way out of her room, Chloe still manages to get out of the house. The challenge now is to get help. However, going along the road towards the city, the girl hears the noise of a motor, and she becomes afraid, because by this time her mother should return. Chloe hides in the bushes, and fortunately, it turns out to be the mailman's truck. At the last moment, she jumps out on the road, and in a panic explains the whole situation. At that moment, a mother's car appears on the road, who notices her daughter's stroller behind the truck. Chloe's life depends on who the mailman believes in the end, her or her mother. Diana tries her best to convince the man that the girl is very frightened as a result of the new medication and does not know what she is saying. However, the letter carrier remains steadfast and insists on going to the police station. The mother decides to agree, and further we see that this is just to wait for the right moment. This time, the girl regains consciousness in the basement of the house, in a chair that is chained up. Here she finds a stack of letters, among which one of them is addressed to her, a notice that she has been accepted to college. She also finds a photograph. The girl in the photo is very happy, and most importantly, she is running. Everything is exactly as Chloe thought it would be. Her mother was poisoning her with medication. It seemed like what could be worse. Maybe the death certificate of Chloe Sherman at the age of 2 hours and 11 minutes, or a newspaper clipping with an article about the abduction of a baby from the hospital. At this point, a mother comes into the basement and sees her daughter with a newspaper in her hands. Chloe asks why Diana stole it. No mother in the universe will love you like I do, and everything I do for you, is the answer the girl gets. When her mother realizes that Chloe is no longer hers, she rolls artificial life support equipment into the basement. Even the state of a vegetable will not be an obstacle for her, as long as Chloe is near her. Realizing the horror of her situation, the girl miraculously manages to close herself in the pantry. She has nothing else to do but to do everything to be in the hospital. Diana learns from the doctors that because of the attempt to harm herself, a psychologist should talk to the girl. However, for the time being, Chloe is hooked up to the systems and cannot communicate. In the ward, the girl attracts the attention of a nurse and hints with a look that she wants to write something. In the process, fire alarms go off throughout the hospital, and the nurse leaves Chloe alone. Using this moment, Diana steals the girl and heads for the exit. Meanwhile, the nurse returns to the empty room and finds the inscription "Mom" on the sheet. The girl reports everything to the guard, while Diana is about to leave the hospital. Having reached the stairs, Chloe pushes herself to the floor with her feet as hard as she can. By this time, the guards arrive, and Diana has no choice but to threaten her with a gun. This results in her being shot in the shoulder and falling down the stairs. 7 years later, we see Chloe still in a wheelchair, but slowly starting to walk. Diane Sherman appears to be in a mental institution. Chloe shares about her now vibrant life without her mother's involvement. And then she takes out a green capsule from her mouth and asks her mommy to open her mouth wide. You are on the channel on Recap Roman. Don't forget to subscribe and put a like.